Dear friends, thank you. Thank you very much for all your communication through my WhatsApp channel. I will give my WhatsApp number at the end of this video. Send your questions as text or audio to my WhatsApp channel. It's very much obvious that some of my videos are hitting atheists very bad because these videos are based in research. Some of them have come to my videos and written extremely abusively, very vulgar language. I have not deleted any of those comments because I want all Christians to see those comments and understand exactly what the culture and civilization of atheists is. Please remember, it requires belief in God to be civil and to disagree in a civil manner. Today I would like to bring the latest discovery from archaeology, latest discovery related to the Bible. A lot of people, particularly atheists, claim that Bible is an outdated book, Bible is an outdated book, everything has been proved to be wrong. Not on your life. Bible is an ancient book, but each day archaeology is bringing increased amount of information which supports the history as recorded in the Bible. The latest one to come, just about 10 days ago, the last week of February 2025, the discovery is the tomb of Thutmose II, the Egyptian pharaoh. You may ask, Thutmose what? Thutmose was a popular name among pharaohs. Thutmose II is the pharaoh who ruled Egypt when Moses came back from Midian to negotiate the release of God's people. It has been known for long from oral and also from written Jewish histories that Thutmose II was the reigning pharaoh at that time. Scholars who work on chronology also have confirmed that Thutmose II was the pharaoh who ruled at that time. His pictures have been found. I show a picture here from taken one of the walls, the handsome king Thutmose II, or the handsome emperor Thutmose II. His queen was Hatshepsut, who ruled after him. A picture, actually a statue of the beautiful queen Hatshepsut is also given. Have a look at it. The signature of Hatshepsut has been found, and that is also given here. You may ask, why mention Hatshepsut? Because Thutmose, the history of Thutmose is deeply connected with what Hatshepsut did after him to preserve or not to preserve his memory. Let me go back to history. Egypt was ruled by 31 dynasties, and each dynasty had anywhere from 3 to 10 or more generations. Moses came back from Midian during the 18th dynasty, and 18th dynasty was one of the most prosperous dynasties, and that is the time when they pressed Egyptians into slavery. And that is the time when they exploited slave labor to build a lot of buildings, massive buildings. Many of them have been found. However, Thutmose II's tomb was never found. If he was really the emperor of such a powerful kingdom, such a powerful dynasty, then his tomb should be there, and Egypt almost every stone has been turned to find ancient history, particularly pharaohs, because Egyptians are really proud of their great historical heritage. But the tomb of Thutmose II was never found, and therefore theological radicals and atheists often suggested that such an emperor did not exist. Did he or did he not? I'll mention. Let me give some more information about Thutmose. He was born around 1493 BC. Thutmose II was the son of Thutmose I. Thutmose I had several queens. Thutmose II was not the son of the main queen. Rather, he was the son of a minor queen by the name of Mutonfret. The name of Mutonfret is found on inscriptions, and a line diagram of that name of Mutonfret is given alongside. Problem is, only sons of the main wife became rulers, but Thutmose II was not the son of a main wife, and therefore Thutmose II did one thing. His father was Thutmose I, who had many wives. The main wife or the principal wife had a daughter known as Hatshepsut. She was his own half sister. He married her. Among Egyptian dynasties, marrying one's own half sister, marrying one's first cousin, marrying a close relative was a very common practice, mainly to keep the rule in one's own hand, the throne in one's own hand. He was able to reign only for 14 years. In these 14 years, he conducted military campaigns in Nubia and Syria to suppress rebellions. But he became sick very soon and he died. Just 14, maximum of 14 years of rule, and he died. His mummy was discovered in 1881. Even a superficial inspection showed that this person suffered from chronic health issues. Later, his mummy was given a CT scan and many other things, and it became very clear that he had chronic health issues, including skin disease, probably heart condition, and infection, other complications, and that he died prematurely. A blanked picture of that mummy is given here. I have blanked it in keeping with good journalistic and media practices where dead bodies, even mummies, are not shown directly, and you must excuse me for that. If somebody is deeply interested, contact me. I'll send an unblanked picture or picture without blanking. It is estimated that when Moses went and negotiated terms with him, and when he rejected that, when he opposed God, all the crisis which came upon Egypt made him feeble and weak and made him die prematurely. His son also died, and therefore we don't hear anything about his son or firstborn in history. His son, via his secondary wife, Iset, succeeded him. Iset was a toddler. He was named Thutmose III. Iset's son, Thutmose III, was a toddler. And therefore, Hatshepsut ruled as a regent so that Thutmose III may become an adult and take over the reign. But the moment she became a regent, she tasted power. And the moment she tasted power, she craved more of it. She made Egypt was already prosperous. She made Egypt one of the most prosperous countries, and her rule was one of the most prosperous periods. I give Hatshepsut a picture of a Hatshepsut statue once again. Eventually, she became so blinded by power that she declared herself that she is the Pharaoh. That's an exception. Pharaohs are always males. She declared herself as Pharaoh, and she ruled for a great many years as Pharaoh and left a lot of inscriptions. Now the question is, when her husband Thutmose II died, what did she do? Usually, kings are buried in King's Valley. But he was not buried in King's Valley. Rather, Egyptian literature said that he was buried in Western Valley. See, it seems that she wanted to keep King's Valley unto herself. And she gave a burial to her husband in a faraway place, in a secondary place. And that place is known as Western Valley. For thousands of years, people have been searching Western Valley for Thutmose II's tomb. They could not find. What happened is this. Western Valley was often filled with flood, and flood would cover all these tombs. And by the time modern excavations started, the Western Valley was covered with 15 feet of sand and rubble. That means the highest tomb was covered with another 15 feet of rubble and sand. So when flood started filling all these tombs, priests in the 21st to 25th dynasties, they opened up the tombs. Officially only they could open, though thieves were frequently opening and stealing. Priests moved the mummy of Thutmose II to Deir el-Bahari's royal cache. Mainly, they claim that it was mainly to protect it from looters. But I want to remind you, when ultimately they found out the tomb, there were no valuables. And when they found the mummy, there were no valuables. Please remember, when Tutankhamun, the correct name is Tutankhamun, when his tomb was found, they found tons of gold. But it is known in history that priests themselves often used to steal these valuables. Once a new dynasty comes, priests of that dynasty have no loyalty to the kings of the earlier dynasties, to the priesthood of the earlier dynasties, and they would steal. So they found a real good excuse that these tombs are flooded, inundated with water, and therefore they removed all these mummies and they looted everything that was possible. Sarcophagus of Thutmose II is shown here. Sarcophagus, the outermost cover of the box in which they kept dead bodies. These were made of, the coffins were made, they were made of stone, wood, or many other kinds of materials. And sarcophagus was just the covering to the body, where usually a beautiful face was given. This is the sarcophagus, the rotten sarcophagus of Thutmose II. Egyptologists searched much, could not find. Then, in 2022 to 2025, satellite images made it clear that there is a certain area in the Western Valley where probably tombs are there. So through an Egyptian-British collaboration, they started mining the area of Western Wadis in 2022. Problem? Satellite images showed something underground, but the ground itself was 15 feet of rubble. And when there is an archaeological excavation, you do not just pick up rubble and throw away. No. Each vessel of rubble that is picked up is carefully examined by experts for archaeological remains, and after careful examination only it is thrown away. So meticulously, for the next 3 years, they cleared the rubble, and finally in 2025, and that also in February last week, that is just about 10 days from the day that I am recording, just 10 days ago, they finally found out the tomb of Thutmose II. Now you may say it was inundated with water, and water might have erased a lot of things. How did they identify that it belonged to Thutmose II? Fair enough. The very entrance of the tomb had the name Ake Perenere. Ake Perenere. That is the throne name of Thutmose II. You may say throne name? Yes. Many Indians, they have more than one name. A name, a pet name by which a person's friends and family calls him or her, and an official name. Egyptians had multiple names. A name given by the family, that is Thutmose II. A name taken at the time of rule, that is for Thutmose II, it was Akher Pernere. Difficult to pronounce. I'm not an Egyptian. Hatshepsut's name was also there. And as they went inside, they found a lot of artifacts inscribed with Thutmose II's name. That is how they confirmed it. Egyptians had not only two, some of them had multiple names. Remember, Egyptians considered Pharaoh as a god, and therefore when they addressed their god, they addressed him using a special name. Some names which priests used for their god, the Pharaoh god, they have survived. So having more than one name was common, and that is an advantage as well as disadvantage. Advantage is that if a person's multiple names is found in a tomb, you have double guarantee that it belongs to that person. In the picture along with this video, I show inscribed artifacts from Thutmose II. Look at the artifacts carefully. You will find a lot of pictorial inscriptions. They had a pictographic language where they communicated with the help of pictures. And they communicated well. Everything from arts to history and science to technology. Egyptian pictographic language was so powerful. And here I must pause and remind you, a lot of Bible critics, atheists, they claimed that Moses could not have written 6 books of the Bible. The first 5 books and also the book of Job, because the art of writing was not invented at the time of Moses. I always reminded my listeners that is pure humbug. Pure humbug. And in other videos, I have made it clear that writing was invented thousands of years before Moses. Exactly how many thousands? We are still counting. But inscriptions which are 2000 years or 2500 years older than Moses have already been found. And we just don't know what all we are going to find. So here, inscribed artifacts from the time of Thutmose. Moses, who was trained in all the arts and crafts and technology of Egypt, had not only inscription, but he also had multiple languages in which he could write. In the accompanying picture, I have shown a signature of Thutmose II. Such signatures are known as cartouche or cartouches. They are actually signature seals. The way people put their seal and impression on letters when you send a letter to somebody from your seal, or under your signature you are supposed to put seal in some documents. In the same way, ancient people had their own seals. The ring was used as a seal, and there were inscriptions on the ring. Egyptians used signature known as cartouche. A second signature of Thutmose II is shown now. This has probably come from a throne. People put their name even these days on their property. So this is another example of not only signature but also ownership. More about the tomb that was discovered recently. Actually, the tomb was built under two waterfalls, and therefore water seeped into it. Plus, there was repeated flooding. As a result, even stone tombs started collapsing. Its ceiling started collapsing. Its walls started collapsing. That's the reason why they could not find it. And also, please remember, 15 feet of rubble covered everything, and there was no way to know that there is something under it. Rubble covered a vast area, and tombs occupy only a small area. So no idea that in this vast area, tombs are hidden till satellite pictures came, and they used ground penetrating radar to shoot pictures. Finally, they found out the tomb of Thutmose II. Other tombs also, but for us, Thutmose II is of importance. Please look at the first picture. Inner chamber of the tomb, you can see collapsed material. Second, next picture, a room or a chamber that has been cleaned or cleared of all debris. Actually, the chambers are all full of pictures and inscriptions, but flooding has wiped out almost all pictures and almost all inscriptions. They were able to reach these chambers only through a tunnel or a corridor which was 40 feet long. A floor plan of the tomb is given. Please notice the long corridor and then the chambers. Lots of material has been found out. Whatever has survived, very little has survived, but whatever has survived shows much. The roof of these chambers was painted blue with yellow stars symbolizing the night sky. Also, they had a book known as Amduat, and sections of the book, they adorned the walls. It was believed that this inscription will guide Thutmose II through the underworld. There is evidence of flood everywhere. Alabaster canopic jars are there everywhere. Hatshepsut has left her mark everywhere. It is she who built it for her husband. So many of the alabaster canopic jars, they contain the statement, made by the god's wife. See, for Egyptians, Pharaoh was a god and Hatshepsut was the wife. so made by the god's wife for her brother. He was not only her husband, but also her brother, the dual king. This all once again confirms all the history related to Thutmose II and also Hatshepsut. After he died, Hatshepsut started ruling as a regent. Once power came into her hands, and once she tasted power, she became greedy for power. And very soon, from regent, she declared herself to be a pharaoh. Remember, pharaohs were all men, but she declared herself as pharaoh and ruled Egypt, and she became one of the most powerful rulers who made Egypt very rich. And many of these rich pharaohs built mortuary temples for themselves. What is a mortuary temple? We all know about mortuary. Actually, Egyptian life was controlled by priests. Once a pharaoh died, the priests passed the dead body through 1,000 rituals, 1,000 processes. They used 1,000 chemicals. 1,000 I'm using figuratively. Processes, yes. They cut open the belly, they removed everything, they cleaned everything, they removed the heart and kept in a jar. They pierced through the nose and sucked out the brain. That is what I meant. The priestly class of Egypt was the richest and most powerful class. They lived in luxury. Mummification of a pharaoh's body was their birthright, and they kept on multiplying rituals so that money would flood them. Sometimes these rituals lasted for 1 year after a pharaoh died. And they needed many rooms. One process here, one process there. One ritual there, one ritual here. And Hatshepsut had become so rich that within her lifetime, she built the mortuary temple shown in the picture. And we can imagine that by any standards, it's an extremely luxurious building which was inhabited by the priests or the priestly class in Egypt. The dead body was not buried in mortuary temple. The dead body was prepared. As I said, the priests kept on multiplying rituals, processes, chemicals. And finally, when the mummy was ready, with more rituals, they buried it somewhere else. Exactly where Hatshepsut is buried and all that, that is not of our concern. Our concern is with Thutmose II, and therefore I'm not going into that. But I wanted you to have a look at the prosperity which came to Egypt at that time. Friends, much more work is going on. Many more inscriptions will come. Plaster is being analyzed. 3D laser and also 3D radar is being used to penetrate deep into the walls to see if any chambers are left there. And Hatshepsut's tomb is also being examined a second time. I want to remind you, Thutmose II, and his name has survived in Egyptian history and also in Jewish oral and written history as the pharaoh who ruled Egypt at the time when Moses came to negotiate for the release of his people, the release of God's people. And critics, theological radicals, atheists denied all this on the pretext that there was no such emperor, because tombs of all the major emperors have been found out, but tomb of Thutmose II has not been found out. And we have searched everywhere in the Western Valley, and there is no trace of any tomb. And now, not only trace, the tomb is there to mock their criticisms. Let me say a few words to my Christian friends. It's very easy to criticize the Bible. I've often told you the example of a bull in China shop. An angry bull doesn't need any brains. All what it needs is the anger and rush into China shop or glassware shop. Everything falls down, crashes into 1,000 pieces. In the same way, they use the same strategy, starting from Genesis up to Revelation. This is false, that is false, this is false, this did not happen, that did not happen, that is unbelievable. And we Christians often, as fools, stand up and listen to them because we are not doing our homework. Remember, they don't have to do a homework. A bull doesn't have to do a homework. All what he has to do is rush angrily. We have to do homework. One by one, after doing the homework, due homework, I am presenting data in my videos. And this should give you confidence. Stand strong, my friends. No data of science, no established data of science, no established data of archaeology has ever gone against the Bible. And no data in the Bible has ever gone against any data in history or archaeology. Stand strong. I request a favor from you. All those who are opposed to the Bible, zealously spread information. Actually, they stand for falsehood and they are so zealous. We who stand for truth should be 1,000 times more zealous. And therefore, please share this video with as many people as possible. Also, please subscribe to this channel, True Light channel. Bible is the true light. And we speak about the Bible. That is why we have named it as True Light channel. Please subscribe to it. YouTube has a new protocol for subscription. You have to click the subscribe button, and then if a bell icon appears, click the bell icon and also choose all. Encourage us by doing so. It's a lot of hard work producing these videos. Days of research go behind a 30 or 40-minute video. So we need your support through your subscriptions. I'll mention my WhatsApp number. Please send your communication via text or audio. The WhatsApp number is 751 019 8690. The number once again, 751 019 8690. Please remember, this number is not available for call. The WhatsApp message comes to the computer. So please don't try to call. I welcome WhatsApp messages from Bible-believing people and also atheists. Perhaps some of them will get some relief, mental relief, if they send a lot of abuse to this channel. You're welcome. I enjoy reading them. It's like reading a comic. God bless you.